talk about that water. If our booster system goes down, you know what happens to our water? We don't have it. It just goes down, really.
Well, yeah, so I am not the booster specialist. That's like something I know very little about.
See, it went down here a few months back before you hired him. It went down that whole weekend. We couldn't get hold of nobody. We didn't have, you didn't have enough to take a shower with.
Yeah.
And they have a system. I gave them that system years ago when they first bought the first one. And they first it wouldn't work. And then they come back 6 months later and said, oh, fine, it did work. Well, that booster system can be set up for higher pressure anytime. And it should demand that. And it should have somewhere to go down that it rings into somebody's home.
Well, it's in the phone dialer and everything, so I don't know what I can honestly tell you, I do not know. That's like
Ladies
something
first.
that I do not know how to run, so.
I thought that weekend, a couple of nights this past week, we got real little pressure. And I said, hey, there's something wrong with them.
I'll ask the boys, see if they've had any issues.
Well,
But it's got dialers and
the
stuff.
guy over in Dog Lake, he's in the hospital, and he told me, because the next morning he called me, and he said, guess what? I said, you didn't have no water pressure, did you? He said, no, we don't. And I said, no, we didn't either. I told you about it.
Yeah, I know. I remember we had diminished pressure, but it didn't go away.
It's one of the bigger things that they ever loop the whole system like they talked about that water study. That's one of the things that'll solve, isn't it?
Yeah, so a
equalizing
feeder
it all.
line coming from the north tower will be huge, because right now a lot of the draw is coming from the south. So that'll be a big deal.
Because in that water study, didn't they talk about taking it out Garland and swinging it by the church camp and bringing
To
it back?
loop it, like eventually looping Garland around to J, so that section's not shut down, and maybe a loop from, I guess it'd be around like Lowry across, and then over to eventually maybe over to Innings to loop that around. So.
And but they got that.
All the way up to Iddings? Why all the way up to Iddings?
Like from this end of town out and around.
Emmerich? What?
Well,
Because
I
the
mean,
water tower is pretty much at Emmerich and J.
yeah, the
south one.
whole point is to basically equalize the north end of town and the south end of town, so that like one main feeder isn't throwing 80% of the high volume demand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's not going to be the case all throughout town.
If you loop the whole
Especially if you
thing,
think
it becomes essentially almost equalized.
Yeah.
So there's no high pressure on this street and low pressure on that street.
We've only got one high pressure system, and that is where you guys are talking about. And the booster station, Tim and them guys.
Well, see, that's gonna hurt us over there.
You don't want to burst the pipes.
Most of the water,
in other words.
that goes that way.
No, that doesn't have anything to do with you guys.
The main don't come off the main line coming down?
Now, we valve down the downtown because that line's too big downtown. That's why we want to bring in a feeder this way. But that actually, because we found two valves that were closed, that's what was causing the issues to the west. But, yeah, so that basically is not, now it's not drawing off of Forest and Hamilton and stuff once we found two valves that weren't operating properly and valved down the downtown. So that doesn't have anything to do with that now.
How much of the town has old pipe?
Oh,
my gosh, we got.
the concrete with the asbestos in it.
Yeah, well, we've got AC in town. Yeah.
Uh-huh,
Oh,
yeah.
I knew
I saw that on the drawings.
Yeah, it's what they call it. It's concrete and
It's
asbestos.
asbestos cement.
Yeah,
Asbestos
cement.
pipes.
I mean, when the old timers called
So
it
hopefully
transite.
you're drinking and bathing in that.
I remember when we did there was the smoke testing thing, and I was 15 or 16, maybe a little younger, when they came through and smoke tested the sewers. And they hired us kids the contractor did, and they pumped that smoke down. But I remember them still having wood lines that they found.
Yeah.
And that was in the early. I'm sure you were in the city by then, in the early '80s.
Yeah.
I just thought that was crazy.
I know, it still happens.
I mean, literally tree trunks.
Yep.
hollowed and stuck together, and that was,
I never had to drill one for a fire plug, but that's, you know,
that, to me, that was insane that, and then there was some over off of, that field that runs between Hayes and, Terry and those. There's that one field back there. I just remember smoke popping up all the way across that
Yeah.
thing, and then people that had tied their, gutters and different drains in and stuff that they weren't supposed to. All of a sudden you see in this
looked
smoke.
like houses were on fire.
Yep.
It's
They
coming
did-
out of
they
the
did that
gutters.
about 4 years ago too.
Well,
Yeah,
even on our street,
we've smoke
there's
tested probably
houses
every,
tapped into
over
the
the last
gutters.
30 years,
Gutters,
about every
tapped
4
into
or
the
5
sewer, right?
years.
Have they ever tested this water for asbestos?
It goes, I mean, it gets
I don't
tested
think
for
it
about everything. I mean, the asbestos on the outside, if you take it apart, it's got a really lime, like sulfide inside.
But if
So-
they drill in it or if you have it spliced, then you've opened it up.
Well, the only times we've ever even cut asbestos, like main break or something, we've maintained well over 20 PSI. There ain't nothing getting in there.
Well, that asbestos is an inhalation problem,
Yeah,
not a
I mean-
digestion problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can make it waterborne. It's not like it dilutes in the water, but it can still be moved by the water and
You
still
can't
ingest
filter,
it.
you can't filter
You can still
asbestos out.
ingest it.
No, I'm saying it's-
There's no filter or catch
When people
asbestos.
breathe it in the
Yeah,
lungs,
I mean, it's sort of the main
it's an
crystal
aerosol
coated.
is what gives people lung
from-
cancer.
Yeah, but you can also
You know,
drink it
lime,
in.
the-
What I'm
the
saying is I'm not
lime
aware of
stuff.
that ever being a
You
form
know,
of
it's
cancer.
not- I don't think
Most
there's
people
anything
don't
really
make
off the
asbestos pipes or
but
asbestos cups
if
or
you
coffee
disturb
cups
it,
anymore.
I
Yeah.
slept
Well,
right
that's
under
what I
asbestos
said.
lines in the
Well,
Navy.
I worked
And
around that.
every time I
that
get my
gas
rack
line.
and there'd be a
Oh,
fine
good
dust.
Then
dust.
it went to
Oh,
mines,
yeah.
we had it
Well,
there too, so
that's-
you got
that's-
watch when you cut it.
That's what always worries
Drill
me.
into
Yeah,
it.
that's
The water comes in,
airborne.
or if
You
you
can
cut
also
it,
make it
break
waterborne
line,
as well.
Sure.
then that's when you get to.
Everything on our
Because
ships
usually
is
it coat
Full
itself
of it.
inside.
Well, even
A
where I
lot of
work now,
cities don't, but we
the old
fix
buildings
most
of the
ours
VA
under
are
pressure.
full of asbestos. They come
That's
around
why we
every
don't ever
year,
have oil orders,
test
because
them.
we've usually got
but they
I
don't
mean,
remove it.
no less than 15,
Where were
but
you
it's
stationed?
usually about 20
Portsmouth.
Norfolk?
PSI.
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth and
I mean,
Norfolk.
it's
Huh?
working.
So we're right
Norfolk.
across.
Well, the
Norfolk.
weekend that they
Norfolk.
pumped,
Where
they
the
went
North-
out.
Norfolk.
Where the hell
Virginia.
did you learn how to pronounce word?
I mean,
It was
all of
never,
us.
You
never
said
pronounced
something about it,
Norfolk.
but now I can't
It was
remember.
Yeah, it went down,
You just
because
said
I went down
Norfolk.
that Monday, and asked me
I-
where from.
where are you
Well, we
from,
found out the
Ohio?
station was down.
Yeah,
Somebody's house.
Portsmouth
Yeah,
Naval is
the
just
phone
right
should
across the
call.
hospitals, right
So I
across
don't
from.
know what happened there.
I don't
From
either,
Norfolk.
but I wondered about that.
But I was on a ship out of
Uh,
Norfolk and then the Naval Hospital.
You know how it is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
yeah, I used to go up to Great Lakes, the naval base up there.
Oh, everything up there is really old too.
So-
Maybe 6:30.
Yeah, it's stopping
maybe
stuff.
6:30.
Well, let's get on out of here, I
I'm
guess.
going home, get me a shower.
Yeah, yeah, get some of that,
Pressure's good.
get some of
I
that
hope it
asbestos
is.
on you.